This is Trend Following Radio, where great thinking comes alive. Nobel Prize winners, legendary traders, best-selling authors, and the pros that know what drive us irrational human beings. I am your host, Michael Covel. Not filtered, raw, honest. That's my passion. I love that song, and I'm sure many of you will recall exactly where you heard it for the first time. Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs as they're walking down the street. Little Green Bag. A reference to a little green bag of weed, marijuana, whatever you want to call it. Not so fast. Right when we think we know something, we don't know anything. It was actually a reference to the little green back, as in the US dollar. Somewhere along the lines in marketing, inside record sales, things got messed up. And it now goes down in history as having to do with weed when it really had to do with the dollar. We do this all the time. We all avoid reality nonstop. We don't know where it starts or where it ends. We don't like to look at facts. We don't like new information. We have biases that are nonstop. Daniel Kahneman's whole career is pointing out how insane we as human beings have become. Building off Little Green Bag back, I want to go down a reality tour of prices today. Stock prices. Specifically, the price of the S&P 500 index, the Nikkei index, the Japanese stock market, and gold. Stocks are at all-time highs, right? The S&P is just blowing through all-time highs. You're either long or you're wrong. That's the rule. But all-time highs never last forever. Nothing goes up forever. Not everyone will get a chance to cash out on their gains from these all-time high stock markets. That's just the way it works. It's a math problem. So go with me on a journey to a desert island somewhere in the South Pacific. It's just you and a basketball imitating Tom Hanks. And all you have each day, the only information that you have are the price quotes of those three instruments that I just mentioned. The S&P, the Nikkei, and gold. You got nothing else. You have a closing price of those markets each day. I simply want everyone to think about numbers and how they move. And if we're on that desert island, we can put all the distractions to the side and we don't have to pay attention to what the voices are saying to us. The voices on Bloomberg, the voices on CNBC, on CNN, on Fox News, on the Wall Street Journal, on Business Insider. From all of your favorite pundits that you can possibly imagine at this moment in time, I'm saying, who gives a shit? Let's just focus on price action and look from our desert island perch what has happened historically. All the opinions out there, they can change in the wind. The analysis can change. Stuff like balance sheets, those can all be fixed, rigged. The government, they can step in and they can do whatever they want to try and make whatever market go whatever direction they want. But we are always left with one damn reality that we can trust. And that is the traded price. Now today I'm going to focus on the traded closing price. So let's just assume that's all we've got. There's a hell of a lot of information built into the closing price. A ton of information. For example, the S&P crossed 500 for the first time in March of 1995. That was a big date. That was really the start of the dot-com bubble, the start of our current technology revolution was in that 1995 time period. And if you recall, Netscape went public in the summer of 1995, and it was off to the races. So much off to the races that within 3 years, now we're on the desert island. We really don't know all these things about Netscape. Remember, all we have is the closing price of the S&P. We don't have everything else. In 3 years, from March of 1995 to February of 1998, the S&P jumps 100%. It goes from 500 to 1,000. Now, out on our desert island in the South Pacific, we're not trading. We don't have access to a broker. We're just kind of keeping mental score. I guess we can get excited if we imagined ourselves having a brokerage account. We really don't have a strategy on our desert island right now. We're just, again, watching the price action. Now, I'm not going to go through every day that took place from March of 1995 to February of 1998, but look, 100% is 100%. It goes from 500 to 1,000 because February of 1998 was where the S&P crossed 1,000 for the first time. Within 2 years, it's up another 50%. March 24th, 2000, the S&P hits 1,552. Now, this is just, we're bored out of our minds out on the desert island. We're trying to imagine how much money we can make. Again, we really don't have a strategy. We're just observing price data. And it's gone from 500 to 1,552 in 5 years. 5 years. That's pretty amazing. I mean, that's phenomenal price movement. But what the Lord giveth, the Lord can taketh away. Within 2 years, in 2002, the S&P drops to 776. That is a decrease of 49%. Now let's start to backfill a little bit on our desert island scenario. Man, this sucker's gone straight up. It's gone up from 500 to 1,552, and now it's down to 776. We didn't really have an exit strategy. We just stayed on board. We feel terrible. There's no one to talk to. We're on this island. We've just seen a 50% decrease. Now, when we look back, what does it look like? March of 1995 to the fall of 2002, it's gone from 500 to 776. Because that big movement in the middle there that got us up to that crazy high of 1,152, well, that's gone. It's all collapsed. Now, as I sit here on my desert island, or you sit there on your desert island, now we're starting to learn something. We're starting to learn that this market stuff can be pretty damn volatile, pretty up and down. I mean, that is significant movement. And now we start to think, how can we formulate a strategy to take advantage of this up and down movement in the future? Because what we don't want to have happen is to get in 1995, and then in 2002, we're at 776, when in 2000, it was over 1,500. We want to try and fix this problem if we can, this problem of being on this crazy up and down roller coaster. Well, it really sucks being out there on the desert island because time keeps rolling by. But you know what? We start to get excited again because those daily prices come in. The only information we have, we don't have all the media sources. And lo and behold, within 5 years, October 2007, the S&P is back to 1,565, topping the March 24th, 2000 high of 7 years earlier. So it only took us 7 years to get back to where we were. Well, this is not bad. We don't have anything to do in the desert island except get old and possibly die. So we're back 7 years. It's not bad. But I'm starting to think there's got to be a better way. And then in the midst of all of this, I get some other signals from a nearby islander. Now, this guy, he's only following the Japanese stock market. And he's had a really brutal time of it. Because he saw the Japanese stock market hit 40,000, almost 40,000 in 1989. But it dropped all the way down to less than 8,000 in 2003. Now he's back to where we are. He's come way back up in that 2007 period where we are now, where we've recouped our gains and we're back to 1,565. Over there, our Japanese friend on the Japanese island, he's only back to 18,000. Now, his high was 40,000 in 1989, but in 2007, he's only back to 18,000. He's not feeling that good because he is so far away from his starting number. He's just depressed. It's over. I mean, he's got such a long way to go to get back to his starting number. And his starting number from what, 18 years ago? Now, this is in 2007. Don't be depressed with our Japanese friend and his desert island. Let's get back to our story because we're pretty excited. We've recouped all of our gains and we are back to 2007, 2008 time period. Things are just rocking and rolling. Well, as this story goes, depression comes fast on the desert island. The S&P craters again. March of 2009, it goes down to 676. Now, mind you, March of 1995 was the first time the S&P crossed 500. So here we are, 14 years later, and we're only up 176 points. But we all know how high we've been. We've been all the way up to over 1,500. Look, this is really tough when you're on a desert island by yourself. There's no friends, there's no family. You're trying to play this mental game of keeping score in the markets. You're witnessing all of this up and down. This is really depressing. I mean, we've stopped talking to our Japanese friend. He is completely out of it. But we're trying to make some sense of this. We're trying to say, wow, this price action, it's really tough. But things start to rock and roll again. From March of 2009, the S&P just goes straight up. 1,569, March of 2013, within 4 years. August 2014, the S&P crosses 2,000. February 2015, it crosses 2,100 for the first time. And we all know in the summer of 2016, we have now hit more all-time highs. Now, of course, I've rapidly moved up from March of 2009 to summer of 2016. We've seen the S&P go from 676 to all-time highs. 2,100, 2,200, 2,300, 2,400, 2,500. Where does it stop? Why does it ever stop? Again, if you're not long, you're wrong. But we've been on this desert island since 1995. We've seen a lot of crazy price action. We've seen a lot of big drops. We've seen the S&P drop 49% and then 56%. And now we're witnessing, again, we don't have any news. We don't have anything. We're looking at the daily price point that we get each day on our desert island. Oh, I'm not here to tell you the market's going to crash tomorrow. I don't know that. I'm just telling you the market will crash. The kicker? I don't have the timing. No one has the timing. But it just doesn't work that everyone gets all of the gains. There will be losers. There will be another drop. And when there is that other drop, and let's move away from the desert island for a moment. I think I've made my point about looking at price action and putting aside all of the noise and just saying what is real. And what is real are the damn numbers that we can see each day. And we know those numbers will move up and down. So back to my Japanese friend, 1989, 40,000 on the Nikkei. 2003 drops to below 8,000. 2007 gets back up to nearly 18,000. 2009 drops below 8,000. Today, back to 17,000. The all-time high is still 39,000 in 1989. Many people don't even live that long. And what I mean by that is the drawdown. We're looking at nearly 3 decades of a drawdown. But bring it back to the S&P situation. All-time highs now, well over 2,000, well over 2,100. Who knows where it's going to go next? My question to you, can you imagine the possibility that the S&P craters from here 50%? Let's say it takes the S&P back to 1,100. Now, mind you, in February of 1998, February of 1998, the S&P was at 1,000. A 50% decline in the S&P, of which we've had 2 of those in the last 16 years, would take us back to only a couple hundred points above the high in 1998. That's 18 years ago. The question you have to ask yourself, the thought process you want to put yourself in, the probabilistic way of looking at this. What are the odds that the S&P craters 50%? In what period of time? If you're sitting there right now and you're close to retirement or in retirement, and the S&P goes to a level that's not been seen since the dot-com bubble, how will your life be? Will you have what you want? This is not about fear-mongering. I'm just looking at the stupid numbers. And the stupid numbers say that they go up and down. Up until the point where you imagine that they can never go down is typically the point they do go down. Think back to the emotional feelings that you had during the dot-com bubble burst. 1999 was absolutely crazy. The NASDAQ went up 100% in 1 year. 100% in 1 year. I remember 60 Minutes did an interview with a guy named Michael Saylor at MicroStrategy in early 2000. That was the point. He came on 60 Minutes. He gave some story about taking over the world, some type of unusual tech Napoleon type character. And I think the whole world just said, holy shit, this guy's worth what, 20 billion? His company's not making any money? Are you kidding me? And within a few months, you had the meltdown. It gets back to Nassim Taleb's big picture, the black swan, not being anti-fragile. Is the current situation today, are we anti-fragile? Are pension fund investments set up that way? Are expectations set up that way? Because you see, when you step back and you just look at the price data alone, and you put all of the distractions aside, the price data tells a story. Now, we don't have to believe that story, but if we don't believe it, and we don't have some context of history, we're going to be disappointed. Our expectations will not be met. And so far, the last time I checked, we've not exactly yet figured out this life extension stuff, so you don't live forever. So what's the best choice you can make, given this distribution of prices? We all know the distribution of prices. We all know we're at all-time highs. Can you imagine anything else? And if you can't imagine anything else, do you have rose-colored glasses on? Are you drinking the Kool-Aid? Let me give one more price series snapshot. And I won't go through my long desert island soap opera again. Early 1970s, gold is less than $40. Less than $40. Early 1970s. Well, damn, that's affordable, isn't it? January of 1980, it gets up to $850. That is a massive move. Everyone and anyone that is a human being with a pulse will feel super smart if they've been long watching gold go from 40 to 850. No one is smarter than me. Except we can see that at the depths of the dot-com bubble collapse, gold was less than $300. From 40 to 850 to less than 300. Now that 40 was in the early 1970s, the less than 300 was 30 years later. Not a super performing asset in that context. Now it looked great at 850, but dropping to less than 300, I'm starting to have deja vu about price action analysis. Up, down, sideways. There's no panacea, is there? No free lunch. Not everyone gets the gold, so to speak. But from the depths of the dot-com bubble bursting at less than 300, Gold soars. 2012 gets to what? Nearly 1,800? Within a few years, back down to 1,000. Man, that hurts. That's a significant drop. Around 1,800 to 1,000? Ouch. But like we've come to understand, these things bounce and they come back. Gold in 2016, almost 1,400. Up, down, up, down. My whole point today, probability. What is the probability that the next big event, the next big move will happen? We can't know exactly when, but we would be foolish to put our imagination to the side and pretend that everything only goes up. As you sit down with your family, your friends, your business associates, and you feel high, you feel excited, you feel rejuvenated that the S&P is at its all-time high. I bring it back to the big question. Can you imagine how you will feel if the S&P drops 50% from here? Have you imagined that that is possible? Because if you haven't, you will be one of those people sitting there, scared, desperate, and not sure what to do when the next black swan swims in. And if you think central banks have fixed the waterways so that black swans can no longer swim in, you are certifiably 100% batshit crazy. I see a time when those awake will understand how to make money in up, down, and surprise markets. Whether new trader or experienced, college student or financial advisor, protecting against a crash or just trying to make a lot of money, trend following offers everyone an answer in uncertain times. To get started immediately, send me an email, michael@covel.com. I will send you the right trend following steps to take along with my free video. But if you want to buy and hold, trust the government and trust Wall Street, this is absolutely not for you.